Welcome to the Croc Podcast.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here is your host, Dr. E.
Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Tommy Anelli, Director of Citizens Reunited to Overcome Cancer. I cannot tell you how humbled and grateful I am that you chose to listen to us today and listen to one of our podcasts that I hope will change your life. I personally am confident that listening to our podcast will elevate the level of your cancer journey if you're a survivor, and elevate the level of your care if you're a cancer provider. Joining me is my trusted co-host, Angel Santana, whose own faith and inspiration-based podcast, Have Faith, Let It Begin, is the perfect bookend for our Croc Podcast. Angel, welcome to the Croc Podcast.
They say a 1-2 punch combination is what gets the blood flowing, and I think that having the two of us together and looking at it from 2 points of view really puts a better perspective as to what we're trying to do, and that's touch one person's life one episode at a time. Dr. E, it's always a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm very excited about today's podcast. And it's going to be talking about vacations as it relates to our cancer survivors. We go on vacation to take rests and get well-deserved breaks from our day-to-day lives. And we don't really think much about them. And we make these plans and we go about our vacations and have a great time. And then there's our survivor thrivers who are not able to go on vacation either because of their own self-imposed reasons or for other reasons. And I thought it would be a really, really good opportunity to talk about vacations because it is vacation time. And I just returned from my June vacation down at the Jersey Shore. Angel, I can't tell you, it was such a great opportunity and experience. I feel like a different person. I feel rejuvenated. I feel magnificent. I feel majestic. And I didn't really do anything that was notable. I didn't do anything epic, but just the ability to change things up, not having to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and get ready for work, being able to give 100% attention to my wife, being able to relax and do whatever I want, whenever I wanted to. And most importantly, being removed, maybe not entirely, but enough from the day-to-day work stresses that slowly erode our balance and erode our stamina. And during that week, Angel, we were invited to dinner by a friend and his wife, who actually Denise knows from her life. And we were invited to their beautiful, glorious house that's right on the bay. And they live down there full time. And their house couldn't be situated in a better place. If you were to look at the 50-yard line of a football game or the blue line or, of a hockey game, you literally are sitting right behind the catcher, and it is the perfect place. It's almost as if God put the sun down, when the sun goes down, what would you call it? The
Sunset?
Yes, thank you, Angel. Put the sunset right in front of their house for everyone to see. It's so perfect and so beautiful. And we were sitting there eating this great food, having this great conversation. And we got to talking about their lives and their lifestyle over the years. They're in their 80s and going strong. And again, I'm looking at them and they're telling us about, how they spend about 6 months a year in Long Beach Island, and they spend a couple of months in Rome, and they spend a couple of months in Antigua, and what a wonderful life that they've lived. They've worked hard. They deserve their retirement. And to be honest with you, they've been traveling like this and living like this really their whole lives. Even when they were young and they were raising their children, they would spend a month in Italy, or they would do this or do that. And they bought their first house down the beach when the kids were young, and they would go fishing together and make all of these memories. And I just was thinking to myself, my gosh, I would never leave this house if I was them. Like, I would never sell this house. And they said to me something that was quite, impactful. They said, if I had to make a decision to give up our lifestyle or our ability to travel, or this house, I would give up the house in a millisecond. And that sort of really moved me because I was thinking to myself how important it is for them to go on vacation and to live this type of lifestyle where they get to see the world. And I thought about myself and about vacations in general and what they mean to me. And in essence, Angel, when I take my last breath and my soul is ready to depart, what I hope is a super old creaking body. The last scenes that will play in my brain, I hope, will be memories of exploring Paris and Europe with my wife for the first time, seeing the Eiffel Tower and the Mona Lisa and all that beautiful art, and drinking from a carafe of some of the best hot chocolate in the world, or eating hot chestnuts in the Tuileries, or listening to folk music at the Le Pont au Gilles, and going to the chateaus and walking the cobbled streets of those walled cities, seeing those beautiful cathedrals and the French vineyards and the Swiss Alps. And then I think about every trip I ever made with my kids to the national parks, to the beaches, all the scuba diving and all the epic hikes and road trips and countless adventures. And I thought that if that did happen, if I was ready to leave this world, this earth, and commend my spirit to the Lord, I would die a happy man if they were the last things that I saw in my brain. And then I was thinking, Angel, hey, if these moments, these memories have meant so much to me, and at this point in time, my life is pretty uncomplicated on the health side. And since I'm first and foremost a cancer survivor, thriver advocate in my professional life, why am I not helping our survivors justify the need for them to take a sip from the pond of refreshment, this oasis of peace, this safe haven for creating a legacy of memories for them and for their loved ones? But the sad truth, Angel, is that many obstacles stand in the way of our survivor thrivers, and they have to face these obstacles before they can even think about taking a long weekend even close to home. And these little small little things, these little monumental obstacles, seem to make a vacation an unattainable thing or an impractical thing. And today, what I wanted to do, inspired by my recent vacation myself, is to try to change this thought process by listing these barriers and trying to topple these preconceived notions and these philosophical thought patterns. What are your thoughts, my friend, before we move on?
I think it's interesting. I liked your perspective about it. There's just so many. Everybody has a difference of opinions of how they want to have their vacations and how they want to spend their moments and their with their family and friends. I think for me, it's just peace. It's
Yeah.
just having that moment to really let go of things and just take in. For example, the beach. When I'm at that beach, I just want to hear the waves. I don't mind
Yeah.
hearing the people laugh. I don't mind hear. I like having people around you having a good time and just
Yes.
enjoying and embracing the weather. You can get the same thing from a rainy day too. It's
Yeah.
just that peace and harmony.
I'm actually glad you said that because I did want to issue one quick sort of disclaimer, and I wanted to make sure that everybody, all of our survivor thrivers out there, know that there are people out there whose lives do not depend on vacation, who really don't have that same priority. I know my father-in-law was perfectly happy never leaving his house, and actually getting him out of the house to do anything was kind of hard, because he loved his life and he loved his home and he loved, you know, he was on vacation when he was in his own house. And wouldn't that be great? And for those people who feel that way, more power to you. You can turn this podcast off. You could go to listen to Oprah or Michael Jordan or whoever you want to listen to. But at this point, this is more aimed for the people who really do need that break. And I'm talking specifically about our survivor thrivers. So here are some of the top reasons. And I put in the synopsis top 10 reasons, but there's really 6 that I could articulate. The first, believe it or not, is something called survivor's guilt or vacation guilt. And this is our cancer survivor thrivers who feel conflicted. about enjoying any leisure activity, whether it be a vacation or otherwise, while their comrades in arms, while their other fellow survivor thrivers are still battling their cancer or have lost their battle to cancer. They feel they don't deserve this break. They don't feel deserving. They feel that it is unfair for them to have to take a vacation or need to take a vacation when other people are suffering. And they're also worried about others. They're worried about people that are suffering and they may not be. And they also feel that there might be an impact on other people who sacrificed for them. So say, their grandparents and they watch their children's kids, their grandchildren while their children are working, and then they went through this their cancer journey and they weren't able to do that. And now they're finally getting back and watching the kids and their kids are now back to their grandkids and their kids are back to work. And then they have to tell their kids, hey, we're going to take a month off and go to Florida, or we're going to do this or do that. They might feel that they're, putting more of a burden on the people who have sacrificed for them. So that was the first reason. The second reason is being away, even if it's a long weekend, even if it's not very far, they might feel a large distance away from their care team. They might feel vulnerable. They might feel scared. They might feel fearful that if something, were to happen, God forbid, what would they do? Where would they go? Is there a hospital near where they're going to be near the campground that they're, pitching their tent, or is there going to be a hospital on that island, that they're flying to? So they worry about that. They want to feel secure and safe in the arms of their care team. They also don't always like the way they look after their cancer treatment. So they might have less hair or no hair. They might have, no breast in their bathing suit right after their mastectomies. They might feel that they're very self-conscious about what they look like. Their weight, taking steroids before chemotherapy. You would think everybody would lose weight, but most people gain weight on chemotherapy. So they don't like what they look like, and they probably don't even want to present themselves in public. They probably don't even want to look at themselves in the mirror. So that's an issue. Also how they feel, Angel. Having just gone through cancer treatments, they might be healing from their surgery or from the wounds of their radiation or from the damage done to them by their chemotherapy. They might not be able to feel their feet or feel their fingers from the neuropathies. They might have hearing loss. They might have visual issues. They might have, whatever, there's so many different things that we do to these survivor thrivers in their cancer care. They may not feel that rigor of being able to travel 12 hours to drive down to the Outer Banks, or, take that 8-hour plane trip across the pond to Europe. They just may not feel up to it. So that's another thing that's a challenge.
Right.
And also the cost, the cost of traveling. And then when you put it in juxtaposition to the cost of their care, and then if you think about the potential that maybe they were out of work, they were on family leave or had to take, unpaid vacation time, to get their cancer care. And now they are going to be asked to spend money on something as trivial or trite or selfish as taking a vacation. So that is another obstacle that they have to face. And then finally, there's the fear, and this is going to sound crazy, but there's the fear of getting back to normal. And I know this doesn't sound like it's reasonable or doesn't sound logical, but think about this for a second. They don't want to jinx themselves. They feel that the cancer has taken all the joy out of their lives. And if they start to have fun again, if they start to live their life again, if they begin to regain hope, they feel that the other shoe is going to drop and the cancer will come back like a thief in the night and steal away their joy. So these are all reasons that cancer survivor thrivers, put these sort of breaks, on the enjoyment of a vacation. And I want to first get your perspective on these thoughts, and then I want to go to the counter arguments.
Well, I mean, you got to look at it. There's so many ways that we can go with this, right? I think for me, it's just getting to know. You have to start with getting to know who you are. I know this is a little bit kind of a little off topic a little bit, but just go with me here for a second. You have to know more about yourself before you can give to others. And why I say that is because how often do you, it goes back to the whole thing with being on vacation, Dr. E, and that is if you find that peace, if you find that harmony, if you find that grace, it allows you the opportunity to make better decisions, better choices. And I think that in order for you to do those things, you have to know who you are as a person.
Okay. Well, that's very reasonable. And like part of that, getting to know yourself is important because as I mentioned about my father-in-law, he was a person who didn't really need, he knew who he was and he knew what made him happy. But again, this podcast is not toward him, it's toward the survivor thriver who might feel overwhelmed and actually needs that break from their daily life. Every survivor, in my opinion, deserves a vacation away from cancer. And the way I'm going to propose this counter argument is I'm going to quote from an article written in a very nice journal called Cure, and it's from 2018. And the blogger is a two-time cancer survivor by the name of Barbara Taco, Tako. And I have to, I'm probably mispronouncing her name, but Barbara is a superstar cancer survivor blogger who really puts this counter argument in perfect perspective. And I'm going to, ask her forgiveness to sort of quote some of the things that she says in this brief little article. She starts by saying, time is going to continue to pass whether I am preoccupied with my cancers or not. Sometimes I just want a vacation from cancer. Merriam-Webster defines a vacation as a period spent away from home or business in travel or recreation. And though I'm done with chemotherapy, radiation, and hormonal medications, I am still finishing up my breast reconstruction project after my recent double mastectomy. I am also getting home from a 1-week vacation riding ATVs in the Black Hills of South Dakota. It is important to continue to make memories even through the breast reconstruction process. Life doesn't always have to completely stop for cancer. I am learning to be more interested in making memories and enjoying the people in my life rather than buying and taking care of stuff. As cancer survivors, I think we become more consciously aware of the importance of vacations and life experiences and time with the people we love. The time to experience life is now. The time to care about the people in our life is now. There are many ways travel can benefit our mental health. It can be hard to contemplate or make the effort to plan a vacation while in the middle of cancer treatment, but it is still important to do it. Cancer needs to be dealt with and life needs to go on. Work is important. It pays the bills. Work isn't everything. I don't know of anyone on their deathbed who lamented that they wish they had worked more or watched more television. Travel with the people you love. Make those memories now. In the end, it will be worth it. When I need to counteract my cancer worries, I use my vacations to help me. To fall asleep, I imagine myself on the beach, like you said, Angel, where I have vacation twice. I am listening to the ocean and the wind, the feeling of the sun against my skin, the sand against my back. I visualize the blue-green water. I picture the tide going in and out over and over again as I lie on the beach near it. When I feel fearful, I think about the scary things I have done on vacation. I see myself riding an ATV up a steep mountain or zip lining or shooting down a luge. I remember myself how fortunate I am to have had some pretty amazing vacation experiences. You need to sneak away to a beach for as little as a long weekend if you can this winter. It will give you something positive to anticipate while going through or recovering from your cancer treatment. Help others to take your mind off yourself. Make memories with your loved ones. A little trip away can make you appreciate your home again as well. Change your focus toward the horizon. Yes, I have more upcoming surgeries. And yes, I have more upcoming vacation plans. I am working on balancing the good with the bad. The negatives are easier for me to manage when they are mixed in with the positives. Don't let cancer take over and dictate your routine. Add good things to your routine as well. Live, play, love, and yes, vacation while coping with cancer, especially when coping with cancer. I don't think I could have said it any better.
Wow. No, Dr. is pointing at his ear like I wasn't talking. I just didn't have the words. Listen, again, it's funny how I never heard this. You're reading this for the first time, right? So I'm listening to it for the first time to me. But yet I was talking about the beach. I was talking about that personal inner self. And that's
Yes.
what I was trying.
That's why I said that was exactly what you were describing.
Yeah, and what's great about it is I was exactly what I was trying to articulate earlier, and I couldn't get the
Yes.
words out. She said exactly what I was trying to say. I was
No, you actually you came across perfect. I
Ah.
understood exactly what you meant.
Well, it just fit together by listening to what
She just said it nicer.
yeah, way better. But no, it was very good. Well, I could picture her on that beach.
Yes.
You
And
know?
and I think in closing, Angel, I think it's really important, the point being made is that, listen, no one could ever understand what you're thinking or what you've been through. It's so easy for your doctors and your nurses and Angel and I and the entire Croc board of directors to sit here and tell you what to do or tell you what's good for you or tell you how you can improve your life or improve your survivorship journey. So easy for us, but we haven't taken even one step in your shoes. We don't know that sitting down and listening that we have just been diagnosed with cancer and we have a life-threatening disease and we have a disease that threatens us from seeing our children grow, threatens us, being able to see our retirement or our later days in life or to be looking toward an end of pain and torture and all that, even going through all that treatment, which is even further pain and torture that may or may not even benefit you at all. And I think what Barbara says so nicely is that despite all of these things, all these special circumstances, all of these 6 reasons or excuses not to take vacations, there's about 1 million reasons why you should. And let's take her example and try to make this a priority in your survivorship, a priority to not just continue to learn by listening to podcasts like ours and listening to spiritual podcasts like Angels Have Faith, Let It Begin, but also to actually take the time to make the plans to take care of yourself. Remember, when the plane is going down and it depressurizes, you have to take that oxygen mask for yourself first before you help others. So you can't help others without you being fully formed in your conscience, being fully formed in your heart and in your soul and in your quest, for enjoyment of life. And there's nothing to be ashamed about it. And there's nothing that should make you undeserving of this small little benefit of our human experience and of your cancer survivorship journey. So to conclude our podcast today, as we always do, is with our Croc prayer. And I really do wish that everyone takes this podcast to heart and that they start tomorrow going on the internet and start stalking some great places and going to Airbnb and seeing if there's a place you can go to, even if it's right down the street, or maybe it's the other side of the world. It really doesn't matter. I really do wish you guys to do this, to have that same feeling we all feel when we catch our first wave while we're body surfing, or whether we see our first sunset at our dear friend Jeannie and Vic's house, or whether we eat this great meal, on the water, or whether we're going scuba diving for the first time, whatever it is, I want you guys to make plans to do that. And in closing, on behalf of Angel and the whole Croc board, I wish you all a long, healthy, happy, and cancer-free life. God bless you. God be with you, and peace to you.
Hey, Croc Nation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the podcast to your friends. Visit our website, crocvip.com. We would love to hear your feedback.